Let me tell you guys the 5 side hustles that I tried before I got into digital marketing and why I decided to stick with digital marketing. The first one is baking cakes. That was one of the things that I was trying to do to make extra money on the side, because at the time I was just like a manager coordinator at a hospital and I was not making legitimate money and I needed to make rent. So my good friend Hakima, she is a personal chef and she put me in. So after I would work my 9 to 5, I would go home, bake my cakes, and sometimes the night before, but I would sleep for like 2 to 3 hours and I would get up because it was at the club. If you were from Tallahassee, FAMU area, you'll know Coliseum back in the day. But I would work there at night up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when the club would let out. And that's when everybody wanted to eat food. And I made a bomb red velvet cake. And I also made pound cake. So I would be cooking or baking with her while she was cooking. And that's how I sold and made money on the side. I was a hustler and I made hundreds of dollars doing that. That is what helped me pay rent, my car note, and groceries and all of that at the time. I even had the chance to make cakes for Migos back when they were a trio. That is, I'm gonna show a picture of me and his bodyguard. So I didn't get to actually meet them directly, but I got to give the food to their bodyguard. And anyway, fun memories. The second side hustle that I used to do was I used to walk dogs. WAG was an app where you basically would babysit or walk people's dogs. So after I would work or go to the gym, I would go home, and this is like before I had my baby. Just left the gym, off to my side hustle here, walking dogs. Say hi. This is Snow. Snow, hi. Snow. And I made like a couple $100s just doing that on the side. I decided to become a notary. I was mentally preparing for the reality that I wanted to have more income. And again, before I knew about this, I became a notary. Other hustle that I used to do was create wigs. I was a wig creator. So this is before all the glueless, all the pre-bleached, pre-plucked, pre-cut wigs came out. I was one of the girls who was creating wigs on a sewing machine and customizing it. And not only was I customizing it, I was coloring, I was installing, I was creating oils to go with my wigs. Like, I was creating a brand. It was called Crown and Go. And that was my hustle, and I made money doing that. I did it for a couple of years. That was a real passion of mine. So I was actually able to make a few $1,000s just in making wigs. And then I used to do Uber. I made a couple $100s doing that. Uber taught me a lesson about filing your taxes properly, because I was audited the year after I did Uber because I didn't report my earnings. I barely made like over $500 doing it, but nonetheless, the IRS came knocking at my door and I was like, oh my God, I barely made anything. Anyway, those were the 5 hustles or 6 hustles that I started before I got into the digital marketing space. And the reason why I left those opportunities was, one, it wasn't worth a lot of the time and effort that I was putting in for the money that I was receiving. It worked at the time, but to continue on long term, I had to evolve with my life. Once I had my baby, walking dogs after work was not gonna work. I gotta go pick him up, you feel me? Baking cakes is a lot of work, and there's a lot of people out here who would run laps around me with their cakes and how they decorate, and that's just their passion. I was just doing it to make money. Ultimately, what I realized was digital marketing allowed me a lot more freedom with my time, and I'm able to actually just make the content on my phone like I'm doing right now. Like, this is digital marketing. Me telling you about my story, my history, why I started digital marketing, the hustles that I was doing before. Like, this is a part of the whole digital marketing experience. So I decided to stick with digital marketing because it just gave me my time back. I had more freedom with how I could spend my time. That's huge. I have to be strategic with how I use my time. And digital marketing allows me to spend the time the way I want to spend my time. That is why I stuck with digital marketing. And those are the hustles that I used to do. And I don't regret none of them. I'm half Jamaican, so I'm going to always be a hustler at heart anyway. I'm grateful that those hustles existed then and I was able to take advantage of them at the time so that I could get where I needed to be. But now in 2025, digital marketing is my hustle. Those are my hustles. What's the worst hustle that you've ever had to do? Drop it in the comments below.